welcome and Happy New Year, everyone, to SPED's first Zoom meeting or SPED event or whatever you want to call it for 2025. Today we have Tamas Halasz. Is that the right pronunciation? Halasz?
Yeah, it's good enough, Paul.
Okay, good enough for a non-Hungarian.
Okay.
Tamas
It's
is in
actually Tamas Halasz. I don't
Tamas.
think
Oh no,
Tamas.
and Tamas is in Budapest. Are you actually in
Yes,
Budapest?
yes.
And we, I don't know if anybody here was there, but we had a little interview with Tamas last year, and he showed some of his customizations. And so he's going to go over. I asked him to create a little application for me, and I am licensing it to SPED, but you'll find out later more about it. And he's going to also cover some of his new uh, Python customizations for Plant 3D. So, do you want to take it away, Tamas?
Yes. Thank you very much for the introduction and also Happy New Year to everyone. Um, so as Paul already mentioned, I am Tamas Halasz. I am actually a project manager and mechanical engineer in Budapest, in Hungary, middle of Europe. Um, I'm working at a small engineering company. We are purely engineers, and we have like 10 people, so really small, relatively small company. Um, and I'm also, let's say, a self-learner software engineer. Um, I have a master's in mechanical engineering and management. And for long time, for more than 10 years now, I have been using Autodesk products, mostly AutoCAD, AutoCAD Plant 3D, and Autodesk Inventor. And I quite like all these products. Actually, I was one of the guys who selected like 10, 15 years ago where to go with the company regarding the 3D design. Before that, the company only made 2D drawings, and then we choose this AutoCAD Plant 3D and Inventor way for for uh, for products. Let's say a screw conveyor or something like that. We use Inventor, and for uh, big systems where we do something in power plants or oil industry or something like that, we are using Plant 3D. So mm, even though I like Plant 3D very much, I had some trouble with it. I was missing some features, and some features was not good enough to our usual workflow, and I wanted to solve those problems. And this is uh, how I get into programming, let's say. So one of the big issue I had at the beginning that the valves and the pipe supports are not really looking realistically by default. So I was not too happy uh, with the software out of the box, and I wanted to make better looking models, and at the end of the day, better looking ortho drawings, which are the final product of an engineering company. Um, so that was my target, and I wanted to solve it the easiest possible way. I downloaded some huge 3D step files from the valve manufacturer's website, and I wanted to use those, but one valve was like 10 megabytes usually. So the 3D model was soon becoming unmanageable. And usually those 3D models have, I don't know how many faces. And when you are preparing an ortho drawing from it, then you will just have a big black dot there where the web's supposed to be. So we didn't like that too much either. So Plant 3D actually is, how to say, kind of prepared, so to speak, for some kind of tweaks. So in the background, when you insert a valve, even though it is not looking too great, like in the previous page, you see this hourglass looking valve. So this is also written in Python code in the background. And Plant 3D is actually prepared to receive this kind of Python-based scripts to create additional items. So you can create your own valve or create your own pipe support or any kind of stuff. And and you can add these scripts to the custom scripts folder. It is in the Plant 3D, the installation directory somewhere. And once you made these scripts, you can add your own 3D models. And these 3D models are described in a parametric way. So, for example, if you want to create, let's say, a new, but just start with the beginning. You want to create a new pipe. Then the pipe is basically just a cylinder which has a diameter and a length. And when you insert this pipe, basically what is running in the background, a small Python script is running and a cylinder is inserted with the pipe diameter as the cylinder diameter, and the length of the pipe is basically the height of that cylinder. So all these are parameter based, and you can create your own kind of 3D models the same way. Of course, if you want to create a kind of realistically looking butterfly web, for example, as shown here, it is significantly more complicated code. You have to insert a lot of, I don't know, cones, boxes, cylinders onto each other, cut them with each other. But at the end of the day, you will reach a point where you have a nicely looking valve which has some parameters. And with those parameters, you can create a custom looking valve, and you can change these valves very easily. You don't need to redraw every size. You just basically change the diameter or the size of this pneumatic cylinder in this case, and it will scale up nicely. And in the spec editor in Plant 3D, you just have to edit basically a table, and that's it. You can fill up all the sizes in the same manner. And you don't, if you have these scripts, you don't need to do Python scripting at all. It is running under the hood. So you only need to edit these entries in the spec editor. So these are the parameters, let's say, for a relatively complicated pipe support I made. And you have all these parameters, and you can change all these values, and the pipe support will scale up nicely and change according to your updated parameters. Um,
Yeah,
so
sorry, part, there's something similar in Plant 3D, but it's not as customizable as that. Because I had a chance to, I had to use those clamp type supports, and I was considerably frustrated with how it was working. And all of your dimension nomenclature on the left there is, it's not clear. If anyway, I shouldn't complain, but I just wanted to mention that this is much more involved than what's part of Plant 3D.
Also, how to say, when especially I think for valves, it's not that much significant, I guess, but it can be there as well. But for pipe supports, every company has their own standards, and by default, Plant 3D have only very limited number of scripts which are built by someone who has something in mind. I also had something in mind and made my own support at first, but based on the input of my customers, I built up a quite significant library of scripts. So what I want to say is that based on Python, right now I have 4 applications for Plant 3D. So one, okay, I will start from the bottom. So I have Python line pipe, which is covering some special pipe item I felt was missing from Plant 3D. I cover it with this app. It is a set of Python scripts, basically. You install this app, and these Python scripts goes to the right folder into the installation directory of Plant 3D. You don't need to do any Python scripting or anything. It will be there when it's needed. And in the spec editor, you can modify these catalogs and use these scripts to create your own catalogs if you want. Python web is very similar, like the before mentioned line pipe, just for cloud. Pipe support is also working in the same manner. It is a set of, I don't know, 30 something scripts and a sample catalog, both in metric and both in inch-based dimension. And the fourth one is a little bit odd one here because it is also a set of Python scripts. These Python scripts cover cable trays. And so I haven't mentioned before that the other frustration, actually the first bigger frustration with Plant 3D was regarding cable trays, that it was completely missing from Plant 3D. And as we are supplying sometimes the whole system, not just a single equipment, but a whole system, oftentimes it happens that we don't have to supply only the pipes and valves and I don't know, compressor pumps like that, but also the electrical cables and cable trains. And then the big frustration was coming that I should use, I don't know, AutoCAD electrical to route the cable trays, which was very painful because you cannot edit the pipes, what you have drawn in Plant 3D in AutoCAD electrical, and you cannot edit the cable trays which you have drawn in AutoCAD electrical if you are in Plant 3D. So the two systems were kind of not really talking to each other. You just saw the outline of the other part. And I wanted to create something which is working in Plant 3D, and that is why Python cable tray was done. It is a kind of pipe pack which emulates cable trays in Plant 3D. The only big drawback was that the pipes couldn't be changed to straight cable trays. So the pipes was always pipes in Plant 3D. I couldn't figure a way to overcome this fixation of Plant 3D, but with some fixed size cable trays, I could manage to emulate what I was looking for. And in the model space, if you click on any straight cable trays, you could change the length of this. So it was kind of working. And this was actually my first application on the Autodesk App Store, this cable tray. Since my last visit here at SPED, I had the feeling that I still missing something, and this was related to actually two apps: the cable tray app and the pipe support app. So my other big problem, which couldn't be solved with Python scripts, was that, for example, if I insert two identical pipe support in Plant 3D, then I change the dimension of that support, like extending it to a different position and to some other structure or wall or whatever. I am actually creating a different instance of that same support, but at least to the best of my knowledge, Plant 3D doesn't really distinguish these two supports. So they are kind of the same for Plant 3D. You will see, for example, you have these two supports on the picture. One is having the length of, let's say, X, and the other is having the length of 3X. And they will be the same name. They will have the same, I don't know, short description, long description. Everything will be the same in Plant 3D. So if you create a bill of materials, even though you know that these are quite different supports, you will have no indication anywhere, not on the ISOs, not on the report creator, not on the bill of materials of the ortho drawings. So what I wanted to do is to somehow export these changed parameters. So what I show here, these these circuit parameters are not really accessible easily in Plant 3D. So if I change some of these parameters and they are significantly changing the support, I want to see it somehow, especially if it's that significant like here. And I really dug into the uh, under the hood of Plant 3D to get this point. And I created a new app called Smart Support, and it does basically two main things. You can export or extract any kind of parameters to Excel. So you can create Excel sheets from your iSupport, and you can list all the parameters what you have changed or not changed. So all parameters can be exported to an Excel sheet. And also, with the same application, you can basically alter the description or the properties of this support. So for example, I'm not sure if it's totally a valid workflow, but I regularly do this. So for example, if you want to distinguish these supports and also highlight one significant dimension on the ISO drawings, then I usually enter that value to the long description size. And this long description size property here uh, can be shown on the isometric drawings. So if you make a bill of material on the ISO drawings, uh, the support will be shown with the long description size. So with this app, you can automatically add to the long description size a certain parameter. You can write that in this case, I want to show the H2 value in the long description size. And then you can select, I don't know, 100 supports in your 3D model. And for each and every one of them, the H2 value will be added. And then if you create an ISO drawing, this H2 value will be there on the right side of the paper with the proper values. Moreover, you can also create, let's say, virtual parameter. So let's say if you want to show the total height of this support, then it probably includes some diameter, some H2 value in this case, some other height value, and so on. And you can create a virtual parameter that, let's say, I want to have a parameter called total height, and the total height should be H2 plus D plus whatever parameters. And it will be also working in the same manner that virtual parameter, let's say, can be added to the long description size. And then when you create an ISO drawing in the long description size, you will see that it is the clevis, whatever hanger with the total height of this, the next support with this height, and so on. So this is one of my new app, this smart support, which covers all these features related to the pipe support parameters. And the other one is related with the trays, the cable trays. So as mentioned to you, my biggest issue with the with my Python cable tray app was that Plant3D always wants to draw pipes, obviously, because mostly it is a piping application. And I couldn't force it to draw straight cable trays by default. But from now on, I can basically easily turn any kind of pipes to cable trays, as you can see in the picture here. So you just select the pipe run, including some bends and stuff like that, and all the pipes will be replaced with the properly sized, properly length cable trays. And it is working back and forth as well, because as mentioned to you before, these straight cable trays are kind of having a fixed length. They can be changed, but only in the properties window. So it is a kind of hassle to click on one straight part, go to the properties and change the length of these. It is sometimes easier to turn back everything to pipes than all the drag points, those small rectangular grip points are working again because we are dealing with pipes. And then we can change their length and then turn back again to trays. But I will show you in a sec how it is working actually in the program. So one other thing is that line to pipe is also kind of working. So this line to pipe feature is a commonly used feature, I guess, in Plant3D, where you just draw a polyline, then you can turn it to pipes. Then here it is kind of working for cable trays as well from now on. Only you have some few other steps because first, as always, Plant3D will draw pipes, but then with the additional step now, you can turn those pipes directly to cable trays as well. So just one additional step and you are there with the cable trays. Okay, and also I added an additional feature, which is kind of making the cable trays working as the pipes. So even in the 3D models with some limitations, which I will show you, you can also change on the fly in the 3D models with just clicking on 2 points. You can change the length even with this, even for this straight cable trays. And I will also show you in a bit how it is working. But it is getting quite close to the feeling what you have when you are drawing just simple pipes in Plant3D. And also in Smart Tray, it is very much having the same functions, or let's say similar functions as my first new app, the Smart Support. So we can also export the parameters, mostly the length of the straight cable trays, which were the biggest issue for most of my clients, that these items are nice and stuff. We can list how many bends, how many PPCs we have, I mean cable trays, but they couldn't export the total lengths necessary because again, this was a parameter hidden in the properties, which was kind of hard to export. But with this app, you can export all the parameters you want. And what is, I think, especially useful is obviously the list of straight cable trays with their lengths. So you can easily summarize how much cable trays you need, what is the total length. And you can also use it for naming the straight cable trays. So it is working in the same manner as Smart Support. You can add, for example, to the long description size, what is the length of that support. So if you, let's say, create an ISO drawing from the cable trays, you can easily have on the ISO drawing what is the length of each and every straight cable tray segment. And as Paul mentioned, there is one more application which came from Paul. So, as mentioned at the beginning, I am working in AutoCAD for, I don't know, 15 years now. But most of the time, I was using Plant 3D. And oftentimes I forget that not everyone uses Plant 3D, or because it is kind of merged in my head that AutoCAD is equals to Plant 3D, but not everyone using Plant 3D. And if you, for example, want to draw a simple pipe in 3D with just, I don't know, 5 bands and stuff like that, you might don't use Plant 3D at all, and you just want to draw it in 3D and insert some item. For pipes, it is not a problem. You just extrude a circle or draw a cylinder straight from the 3 dimensions, uh, and you are done. For bands, it for for smooth bands, it is also okay. You are using a torus and you are cutting it at the right angle. But if you have to use metered uh, bands where there are segments, like 15-degree segments are added together, then you will have some hard time drawing these uh, nicely looking metered bands. So this app, what was Paul's idea mostly, is that it would be nice to have a small app which is basically based on 5 parameters: the radius, the diameter, the number of segments, and the angle. It can create a metered band, and it will insert basically this 3D model to the 0, 0 coordinate, and then you can do whatever you want with this band, and you can create every angle. Changing the angle is easy, just changing one value, and that's all. So this is this app which was coming from SPED, let's say.
Yeah, yeah, I needed to do mitered. In Plant 3D, you can create your own spec that contains mitered fittings, but I didn't need enough of it to justify. So this enables me to do whatever size mitered joints, however many gores I need, but it's just a dumb 3D model. So I figured because I needed that, I asked Tamas to make it, and I figured I might as well have it available through SPED as a benefit of being a SPED member or something if you happen to need an app like that. So it'll be like a free download, to support to promote SPED as well. Can you show us basically how it works to this?
Yes,
It's
I,
really
I will
simple.
go.
Really simple.
Yeah, I will go through all the stuff I already showed. So I go to Plant 3D right now. And okay, I will go in the same manner as in the presentation. So I will go start with smart support, then smart tray, and then I will show you the MiterEll3D app. So if I open just same drawing what I showed you in the presentation. So I have these hangers, and by default they have the same family name, long description size, long family name, short description, everything is the same. So you don't really have anything to distinguish them, even though their lengths can be quite different. I mean, the rod lengths. And but you have no way to, if I go down here, in the properties. You have no way to export this H2 value, which is in our case the height between the top of the clavis and the bottom of the clamp, let's say. And you cannot really export it. So that's why I have created this app, what I already showed you in the presentation. After installation, you will have a new tab, which is hidden right now. And on that tab, you will have smart support and all these functions, all these icons will be there. So if I go to the settings and I go to the list, I basically can tell the app what kind of list I want to create. So in the first column, let's say want to have the long description size. In the next column, I want to have the nominal diameter. And in the third column, I want to see the parameters. And I can tell the app what kind of parameters I want to see. So I will try H2 because I know that H2 value in this case is important. Maybe for some other support, I will try some other values here. And I hit OK. Now the settings are done. I don't need to do it again. I just go to the support list button, select these three supports, click enter, and I can create the new Excel sheet. I will create to the desktop for simplicity reasons. And I go to the desktop if Zoom allows me. And if I open the Excel sheet, I should see three entries because three supports were selected. These are the three supports. Sorry, one of the values are date formatted and Excel turned it to date. But yeah, I think you get the idea. So H2 value are listed here. This is the nominal diameter of all these supports. So all three are 12 inches, and this is the value of the H2 value of these supports. And I can also export all the parameters if I want. So if I go to the settings, go to the list, and I can just type all here and hit OK. And then again, just support list. Sorry, I don't know why I was signed out from the Autodesk ID. I have to sign it back again. Just a moment. Okay, so if I enter the list, I create the list again, and I should see all the parameters of these supports. So if I open again this Excel sheet, now I will have a very similar table with the name of these supports, the nominal diameter of the supports, and all the parameters now are listed here. So everything what is entered as pipe diameter to the center of pipe, I have everything. So you can create easily these kind of lists with this app. And also, you can, as I mentioned before, send one of the parameter, let's say, to the long description size. So if I go to the settings, to the naming, and I say change the long description size, then I can have a rule how to change the long description size. So the order should be, I want to have at the first place, sorry, the long description family as a starting name order. And in the second place, I want to see the parameters and the separator between the items. I don't know. Let's say this one. And parameters. What does parameters mean? Basically, you can list what kind of parameters you want to see in this change long description size name. Again, for this case, H2 is the important parameter for me, so I leave it as it is and hit OK. So the settings are done. And now I just go to the support properties button, select these three supports, hit enter. And then if I go to the supports, you will see that the name is changed. And for each support, the name will include this important parameter from now on. In this case, H2 is this. If I go to this one, should be a much higher value. H2 is this one. So from now on, the long description size will include the important parameter what you are choosing. And then if you create a list with the report creator or the ISO drawing or the ortho drawing bill of materials, you can select the long description size and the important parameter or parameters will be listed here. So it is an additional information which is quite useful, at least for me. For my usual workplace, it was a quite significant game changer addition. So this was the brief summary of Smart Support, what it can do for you regarding the Plant 3D support. Now I will show you what Smart Tray can do. So I close this drawing.
Tamas, just
Yes.
note that we're at 10 to 1 now. So I'm assuming how much longer do you figure it's going to be? Because I'm assuming most people are going to be back to work in 10 minutes at
Okay,
least.
I will start fasting it up.
Okay.
So basically, what Smart Tray can do is adding additional functions again to Plant 3D. Some additional icons will appear under the Smart Tray tab. So if I, let's say, start drawing a pipe, again, I already have a pipe spec, let's say, which is cable tray pipe spec. But as you can see, I am drawing a pipes with the bands are already cable trays because I am selected a V-line, whatever it is called, cable tray spec. So with Smart Tray, I can just select pipe replace. And then if I select all these stuff and hit enter, every pipe will be turned to cable trays. Also, sometimes these bands are upside down, and it is because Plant 3D doesn't really care if a band is upside down because pipe bands are, how to say, changeable in this way. But in cable trays, you have to flip it. So I have also added a feature which you just click on it and it will flip the band because it is not easy as the two connections are kind of fixed. So this is the additional two additional features. Also, you can, as I mentioned, turn all these stuff back to pipes, and then you can extend the pipe easily and then turn back to cable trays. That way you can easily edit the straight cable trays because right now I cannot uh, drag these endpoints because the straight cable trays are kind of having this fixed length. It is a thing that I couldn't change in Plant 3D, but I have this new function called tray lengths, and this is working in this very similar manner that I click on it, and basically you can extend the trays in this almost the same manner as the pipes. But one limitation is that it can only be done measured from the first connection point of the cable tray. Sorry, but how to say it is a small thing that we can live with. And as mentioned, we have a list. From now on, you can export the length of all these cable trays again to Excel. So if I select all this and create a list onto the desktop, we will have a small Excel sheet with all the straight cable trays in our case, with showing right now 3 parameters, L1, A1, and B1. And in this case, L1 is the length of the straight cable trays. So you can easily summarize how much straight cable trays you need in total, because it is in Excel. Also, it is listed what is the nominal diameter, which is basically the width in this case for these cable trays. So you can group it based on the width, and you will have a nice specification what to order. So going to our third app, which I was talking
Can I
about.
ask a question here?
Sorry?
Sorry?
Can I ask a question here? Because in many cases, cable trays going sometimes vertical, sometimes you have a branch, sometimes odd
Yeah.
angles, not 45 or 90, sometimes fabricated as bedside condition. All this can
Yes.
be done also?
Basically, yes. Right now, what you see here, I filled up a spec with many elbows, as you can see in the right-hand side. And the first two values of these showing that what is the angle of the band. So it is a 30-degree horizontal band. So if I show you, it is like this. And
SPED.
also
Чувак
this is a
из
vertical
Польши,
band,
что ли, показывает,
which
как
is
он
going up.
скрипты
Hey, Ivan, can you mute your microphone?
делает. Ага. На Python пишет скрипты сюда. Ну, я просто не понял сам.
Okay, Catherine, can you mute Ivan?
Есть бенефит от этого.
So to answer the question, I have in my Python cable tray app a sample catalog which contains many different kind of elbows, bands, TPCs, vertical tees, anything you want. And also all these items can be made changeable in Plant3D in the same way as the pipe support. So right now I don't think it is turned on. Yes. So by default in Plant3D, all these items are not changeable, not like the pipe supports, where in the properties you have the list of parameters and you can change, for example, the angle. But in Spec Editor, you can turn on basically a switch, and from that, the switched items are changeable in Plant3D in the same manner as the pipe support. So you can change the angles of it. And you can play with the angles, play with the how to say, the radius, let's say, all this kind of stuff. I'm not sure if I answered the question. Sorry.
Yes, and about branching, we can also have a branch. Sometimes
it's here. Yeah, it's here, for example. So it is working in the same way as pipes, basically. T's, T, Y, you have everything. It is basically a pipe spec. I just, how to say, forced Plant3D to have a pipe spec which looks like a cable tray.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
You're welcome. And now, going to the latest step, this MiterEll3D, it is basically just a small new window, and you can enter what is the radius, what is the diameter based on this small explanation picture, what kind of bend you want to see. So, okay, it is a little bit big one. Oh, and I turn it to say realistic. So this is the band was created based on these parameters. But if I delete it and let's say change the radius and change the diameter and increase the angle, I can easily insert another type of band. Or if I increase the segments to 5, it is getting smoother and smoother depending on what kind of band you need. You can even create
Oh, we lost your audio, Tamas. Do you hear me? Uh-oh. Is anybody out there? Did I get dropped or?
I think Tamas did start off with
Oh,
having problems with his
I think,
sound.
I think he's back now. Okay.
Okay, Tamas, speak up.
Oh, Paul.
Okay, now I hear you now.
Okay, sorry. I don't know what happened, but
Yeah, who knows?
I lost the audio. So you can insert any kind of band with created from segments with metered, let's say from metered bands. You can even create one without thickness, then it will be a solid band without any inner hollow part. So that is the app what we have created together with Paul.
Yeah, and again, it's just dumb 3D in case you need to show a miter. It won't show up in any bills of materials, obviously. It won't be in the database. But sometimes you got to draw ducts for large bore stuff. That's its only purpose, is to be a dumb 3D visual element. I'm going to upload it to the SPED website, and then I'll give Catherine the location. So if you want to download it, send Catherine an email, and we'll send you the link. We want to track and see how much the interest there is in it, so that we can, rather than just put a download link, if it's better if you email, because then we know how many people
100%.
are interested.
Sometimes it is overkill to use Plant 3D for some stuff, and it is easier to just drop in some 3D object, and that's it.
Yeah, you can still use this in a Plant 3D model. It's just that it won't be connected to the database.
Yeah, for example, actually, to create an angle, a band, which is having more than 90-degree angle, I think it's not straightforward in Plant 3D, and this one can do that. At least, I think it is an advantage over the default bands in Plant 3D.
Yeah, it'll be useful, but it just won't be. You won't be able to get any material counts out of it or whatnot.
Okay, so I think 7 sharp. So I think I covered everything what I wanted. I hope I haven't missed any major thing.
Okay, thank you, Tamas.
You're very welcome. I was happy to be here.
Thank you so much, Tamas. Yeah, much appreciated. Thank you, Paul.
Okay, so I'll try to upload this by the weekend, and remember just to send Catherine an email if you want that MiterEll3D app. And Tamas, can people download trial versions of your plugins? I forget.
Actually, for the Python-based scripts, to be honest, it is not really possible. I will tell you why, because these Python scripts are basically text files, and I cannot limit any. So I cannot create a demo version, because once you download it, you have it, and that's it. So the Python app, they are just there on the App Store. You simply have to jump into them and purchase them, to be honest.
Okay.
You can check, there are many reviews, and it is not a fake application. And I according to the reviews, it can be useful for others, not just for myself. For what I showed mostly today, the smart tray and for the smart support, demo version can be, how to say, arranged. It's not on the App Store by default, but if somebody writes me to my email address, we can manage something out. For those apps, I can create demo accounts. Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you, everyone.